The quality is so much better than I expected. It feels like something way more expensive. Honestly, it's kind of a steal. Show support to Nubian narrator and cop some merch before it's sold out again.
You do not have beliefs, beliefs have you. A doctoral essay reworked for visual delivery. What you are about to hear is a spoken adaptation of a doctoral-level philosophy essay. The original version is written in formal academic prose. This version preserves the argument, the structure, and the conceptual commitments, but has been reworked for visual and oral delivery. Nothing has been simplified. Nothing has been converted into pop psychology. The full written essay is available on request. The thesis. We ordinarily speak as if beliefs are things we possess. We say, I have a belief. I changed my belief. I chose to believe. This grammar is not innocent. It encodes a metaphysics. It assumes a stable subject standing behind cognition, selecting and owning propositional attitudes. This essay rejects that model. You do not have beliefs in the way you have objects. Beliefs are not mental possessions. They are structuring forces within a cognitive system that organize perception, constrain inference, guide attention, regulate action. You do not stand outside them. You operate through them. In that precise and non-metaphorical sense, you do not have beliefs. Beliefs have you. The failure of the ownership model. The ownership model of belief depends on a picture of the mind as a container. Inside the container are thoughts, beliefs, desires, intentions, and somewhere in that container is a self that inspects and endorses them. There is no such place. Cognitive science gives us distributed processing, not a central epistemic subject. Philosophical analysis gives us the same result for independent reasons. To believe that B is not to store a sentence in an inner archive. It is to be disposed to treat P as true in reasoning, rely on P in prediction, filter perception through P, act in ways that presuppose P. Belief is not an object. Belief is a pattern of constraint. Belief as cognitive architecture. Once belief is understood dispositionally, its role changes. Belief is not something you consult. It is something that pre-structures what counts for you as evidence, relevance, and possibility. It determines what you notice, what you ignore, what you find intuitive, what you find absurd. Two agents presented with identical information do not encounter the same world. They encounter differently structured environments because their prior belief networks generate different fields of salience. Belief is not primarily about what you think. It is about what you are able to think. The illusion of voluntary belief. We often speak as if belief were subject to direct voluntary control, but one cannot decide by an act of will to believe something one takes to be false. Belief responds to what the system registers as evidence, not to command. What we call changing our mind is not an act of free authorship. It is a reorganization of the cognitive system under new information, new social pressures, new inferential pathways, new affective weightings. Conversion experiences make this obvious. No one steps outside their belief network and selects a new one from a neutral position. The system is reconfigured from within. Beliefs as environments. A belief network functions less like a tool and more like a habitat. It is the medium in which cognition moves. It defines the range of live possibilities, the structure of doubt, the direction of explanation. This is why disagreement so often fails. because what is being confronted is not an isolated proposition, but an entire epistemic ecology. Arguments do not land because the background structure that would give them traction is absent. You are not exchanging beliefs. You are encountering incompatible cognitive worlds. Ideology and invisibility, the beliefs that most strongly structure you, are the ones you do not experience as beliefs. They appear as common sense, reality itself, what everyone knows. Their power lies in their transparency. A belief you are aware of can be examined. A belief that organizes your sense of the obvious cannot. This is why ideology is not primarily a set of explicit doctrines. It is a perceptual framework. It determines what shows up for you as natural, inevitable, rational, unthinkable. Again, beliefs are not inside your mind. They are the conditions under which your mind operates. The social dimension, beliefs are not formed in isolation. They are stabilized by language, institutions, reward structures, shared practices. To hold a belief is to occupy a position in a social space. And this explains something crucial. Changing belief is rarely a purely intellectual event. There's a reorganization of identity, affiliation, status, affective security. Belief revision is costly, which is why belief persistence is the norm. Agency without ownership. If beliefs structure us in this way, does epistemic agency disappear? No, but it has to be relocated. Agency does not consist in choosing beliefs from nowhere. It consists in exposing oneself to counter-evidence, building inferential discipline, designing environments that destabilize error, cultivating sensitivity to reasons. You do not choose what convinces you, you choose what you allow to act on you. Epistemic agency is ecological, not sovereign. The self as belief structured. At this point, the thesis expands, because if beliefs organize perception, memory, valuation, inference, then the self is not something that has a belief system. The self is the ongoing activity of that system. Your sense of what matters, what is possible, who you are, what the world is like, is generated within a structured network of commitments. You are not a subject who owns a worldview. You are a worldview in operation. Consequences. This reframing has consequences for disagreement. You are not correcting errors in a database. You are attempting to reconfigure a system. Education. Information transfer is insufficient. Cognitive restructuring is required. Responsibility. Epistemic responsibility becomes environmental and developmental, not purely voluntary. Intellectual humility, because no belief system gives its inhabitant a view from nowhere. Let me restate the central claim. Beliefs are not mental possessions. They are organizing structures that shape perception, constrain reasoning, stabilize identity, guide action. You do not stand outside them and select them. You think through them. To say, I believe, is not to report ownership. It is to express the current configuration of a system. So the slogan is not rhetorical. It is literal. You do not have beliefs. Beliefs have you. This has been a spoken adaptation of a doctoral level essay. The argument in its most compressed form is this: the traditional model treats belief as something a subject owns and controls. That model is false. Belief is a dispositional, system-level structure that organizes cognition from within. It determines what appears true, relevant, possible, unthinkable. Epistemic agency, therefore, does not lie in choosing beliefs at will, but in shaping the conditions under which belief revision becomes possible. The self is not the owner of a belief system. The self is the dynamic expression of that system. The full academic essay is available on request.